Okay, gentlemen, it's indeed a great pleasure to welcome Lieutenant General V.K. Saxena, the former Director General of Air Defense, as also Air Commodore A.S. Bahel. Both of them are part of the Center for Land Warfare Studies. All of us have known that in the early hours of Sunday morning, between 1:30 and 2 o'clock, we have seen the first instance of attack by drones on one of our defense installations, that is the Jammu Air Force Station. We found that two drones having dropped explosives which detonated and caused some form of damage to one of the roofs, and the second one exploded on the tarmac. This is the first instance that we have had an attack by a drone on the defense installation. Proliferation of drones has been there for quite some time. It has brought in a paradigm shift in the security challenges that we all face today. We have seen in September last year, during the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, that a large number of drones and loiter munitions were utilized, extensively employed with a view to target the tanks, infantry combat vehicles, field fortifications, soft vehicles during the conflict. As a result of which, a large number of losses were suffered by Armenia. We have had this first attack. I would like you both to consider what is your assessment of the attack on the Jammu Air Force Station in terms of its motives, in terms of who could have engineered this attack, and what kind of drones and explosives have been utilized for this purpose. To begin with, I will request General V.K. Saxena to please tell us about this.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, sir. First of all, thank you very much to be getting me on board here to share my humble views. Coming to your question, sir, my take is that this attack by drones yesterday is a continuing pattern of modes of operation. I take your mind back to 20th June 20, when in Kathua, a hexacopter was shot down by our own forces. It dropped something. Thereafter, 9th September 20 Samba, 20th September Poonch, 19th September Rajouri, 22nd September Akhnoor, 17th November Arnia, 18th January Ramban, 14th February Samba, May 21 again Samba, and finally this. What is this happening? What is this happening is that commercially available drones, which are available off the market, number one. Secondly, between the nexus between China and Pakistan, it is available across board, are being used to drop munitions, arms, small arms, munitions, as also various types of IEDs. This is a continuing pattern. As also, it sends out a very big message. The message is that it is the first time a drone type of an attack has taken place on a military facility. Earlier, the weapons or small arms or explosives or IEDs were dropped in open, so on. The first time it's targeted a military facility, Air Force facility, which is Jammu is a military and civil air base. Right from 2016, when the Pathankot attack took place, this is the first time. As it is, some media has said, we are baptized by a drone type of an attack. No, very big message is that this is an escalation of a different type of a threat. Like some media is talking that LET has done it, some Dilbag Singh of Kashmir police head has said it's a terror attack. But the pattern is very clear. The forces inimical to our country, which are terrorists across the western border, or in collusion with the mainframe government, in collusion with the powers that be, are continuing a pattern. This pattern is emerging fast. But there are many worrisome things in this. What is the most worrisome thing? The most worrisome thing is that these two drones have entered a high security zone without getting detected. This is a huge, huge factor which we need to plug in immediately. Secondly, as an air defense man, I always see a problem of air defense, air threat, air attack in three verticals: detection, identification, destruction. We have to say that in detection we have not achieved detection of this. Why? Where are we? How do we destroy it? Do we have the means? And why? How do we command and control? Battle management, command and control, BMC2. The idea is to assess these three. What is required? Where are we? What are the gaps? So I see it in this manner, sir.
A very valid point that you made, that earlier that we have seen the drone attacks were very close to the border. Whether it was in Taran Taran in 2019, where the Punjab police got a cache of arms, ammunition, fake currencies, as also in the Kathua Samba border, they all were very close to the border. But this time, it is almost 15 kilometers inside from the international border. So that's a very valid point you made, and that fact that we have not been able to detect is a very worrisome part. Rekomodo Bahal, would you like to now give your assessment as you see?
Sir, drones, like you rightly mentioned, were extensively used in Syria, Iraq, and Azerbaijan conflict. And also drones were used to drop weapon systems, drugs, as well as arms and ammunition over India. And these are those quadcopter types of drones, which are small, which fly at extremely low altitude, which carry a payload of 4 to 8 kgs, and the total weight itself is between 15 to 20 kgs. Now, because their radar cross-section signature is extremely low, because their speeds are low, because their altitude is low, they are extremely difficult to pick up by radars or by conventional equipment. Now, what we look at is, if we look at Jammu's attack that has taken place, by the hole that has been created on the roof of the building, it is apparent that a weapon system has been dropped from top. So if it is anything, it has to be that of a drone, because if it was an aircraft or any other, we would have detected it. There would have been warning available, but there was no warning available. The second and most important point is that it was at night time, 1:37 and 1:42. Now, most of the systems are unable to pick up anything visually at night. Though it was nearly half moon conditions at that period of time, but still it was difficult to pick up anything flying at night. The third thing is the acoustics. The sound could have been heard, like you rightly mentioned, but maybe the line of sight was such where the sound may not have been heard. And the two IEDs that were dropped, 4 kg and 5 kg of TNT, is such that it created damage, but it did not give large scale any destruction or neutralization of any of our Mi-17s. But most importantly, the very worrisome fact is that there is an escalation in the scale of conflict from extremely lower end of low intensity conflict to a stage where our air bases are now being targeted, which are high value targets, which are highly protected targets. The second factor which General had mentioned, and very nicely he had indicated, was that last attack which took place in Pathankot was actually by terrorists, 5 armed terrorists who were neutralized by our commandos. But this time, there is a drone use or 2 drones use, which implies that you're operating in high area of high degree of deniability. Now, this is one area where even if Pakistan is involved, but there is no confirmation, especially when the operation of the drone could have taken place within our territory. Now, it would be difficult to fly a quadcopter 15 to 17 kilometers inside our territory, drop 2 systems and then come back, because it would be a line of sight with the operator itself. And because the line of sight cannot be established beyond 1 to 2 kilometers or a few kilometers, therefore the doubt comes in whether the operator who had operated this drone was operating close to the airfield itself, which perhaps the civil intelligence agencies and police would be the best people to identify and find out. But one more important factor here is Pakistan today is actually focusing on its western front. If you look at Afghanistan pulling out, the American forces from Afghanistan pulling out, now the Pakistan's key interest factor right now would be in Afghanistan. The second and very important factor is, whilst they would like to keep our borders alive, and this is exactly what they will be looking at, to increase the scale of escalation, especially when India is occupied with its northern neighbor and is heavily deployed in high alert conditions. It would be the ideal system to use to increase the scale of conflict whilst having a high degree of deniability. And this is where we need to look into various counter drone measure systems.
You know, the point we have to understand, if we go back to history, not very far away, in 2013, I'm referring to detection capabilities. There was an attack on the Vice Chancellor of Germany, which remained, and the drone crashed on the stage itself. In 2015, there was a drone that crashed in the lawns of the White House. We have had swarm of drones attacking Aramco in 2019. So therefore, detection actually at the moment, if you fly very low, as Commodore Bahan mentioned, there's a great amount of difficulty in detection of drones. But the fact remains, today it is just 2 drones that we have spoken about. And they have attacked a high value defense installation in defense facility. Tomorrow it may be a swarm. A large number of them may come together. What do you think should be our actions to prepare ourselves? Are we adequately prepared for it? Do we have adequate amount of counter measures for drones? Have we taken those kind of measures at the moment? Also take into account the fact that today we are actually in a form of establishing peace on the line of control. We're not firing over there. Could it be linked to those peace overtures that are taking place on the line of control and someone wants to destabilize that? And what kind of technology? Because in my view, I feel that it was not a very precise ammunition that guy was guided onto a particular helicopter or so. It was in a very generic area on a rooftop, stroke on a tarmac. Had it been a precision guided munition released from a drone, he possibly could have targeted a air facility and let us say helicopters, which are parked actually outside. What's your take on that, General Saxena?
Sir, you very rightly, sounded an alarm. Let me take your mind back to 5th January 2018. That was the time when the first recorded history of a drone attack took place in western Syria on a Russian airbase Khmeimim and their naval base Tartus. Let me tell you, sir, there were only 13 drones which came, 10 on the airbase and 3 on the naval facility. Russians, we know, strong in air defense. They launched the Pantsir surface-to-air missile systems. Out of 10, they could down only 7. 3 of them still landed on the naval Tartus facility. They say our soft kill weapons killed all the 3, but the reports later said only 1 was killed, 2 still damaged. Now imagine these 2 generic drones. We actually belittle the threat by saying, oh, they're just like that. Remember that while it is easy to premise that there could be a drone launched from the close to the airfield, but I would like to give the devil its due that every small drone which has got a capability to drop something, whether precisely or generically, has got first of all, a body, a power plant, a warhead carrying capability, and most importantly, a communication and GPS system, which is bringing it here. And it is ensuring by altitude and its RCS so beautifully that our system are not able to detect it is only increasing my worry. So therefore, I will leave the threat as the threat in being, which can be even stronger. And starting from that as the given, I will say my problems lie on 3 verticals. How to detect it, how to kill it, and how to control the killing. They are the 3. Now, as regards the detection today, I'm not talking of big radars, early warning radars, tactical control radars, hundreds of kilometers radars, missile guidance, fire control. I am talking of those radars which are low level, can detect small targets. I am so proud to tell you today, sir, that our country today, the LRD, DRDO, Bell and private industry have got the capability today to devise or make every single type of radar. Now we have got, what is the type, why is it that we could not detect? For drone detection, specific type of radars are required. One of those radars are called SR radars, that is active electronic scan array radars, may not be available at the base. Others are a mid GHS band radars in the radar bands CX, Q and K, 6 to 15 gigahertz. Those are only radar solutions which can be easily beaten by small drones. What is their death knell? What is show detection? Show detection is, more near show detection is electro-optical devices to detect. What is an electro-optical device? Very simply, a day camera, a night camera, a laser rangefinder, a video display unit, and a fire control computing device. They are the four which combine together. Now, our country has already got low-level lightweight radars on which this electro-optical fire control systems can be mounted. That is the type of detection void we have today. Let me just openly say that today we have that void of electro-optical devices which we need to plug. Now, DRDO has come out with an anti-drone solution. This anti-drone solution has got two types of killing power. One is killing through jamming of the command and control signal, and other is through killing by the laser beams. Range achieved is 3.5 kilometer through command and control, and lasing at 1 to 1.25 kilometer. But you will only kill if you detect. And if you detect, your electro-optical surveillance devices,
Okay, yeah.
very important. That is the
Yeah, I think you made a point about how most important portion is to detect. Unless we are able to detect, destruction will only follow after that. You know, we are talking about drones are categorized into nanotype, right? There are micro, there are small, there are medium size, there are large. All these would be different. When you compare some of these kind of larger kind of drones which are available, do you think they'll be possible to detect those? So I would like to hear from you, Air Commodore Bahal. What kind of countermeasures would you like to recommend so that our preparations remain well to protect our defense installations, including our ammunition depots, our FOL depots, our communication setups, our radar systems, as also some of the headquarters which may be vulnerable? Please go ahead.
Sir, I think both General Saxena and yourself, you have identified the key aspects that are plaguing our air defense system against large amount of small, low-flying drones. So first thing I would like to highlight here, so one very important thing you said, suppose one Mi-17 had been hit or two damaged. Now that would have really created a large amount of psychosis in our country. And that exactly, this is what I'm coming to. Maybe the enemy did not want the Mi-17s to be destroyed because it would have brought the escalation in the scale of conflict to completely different level. So probably it was designed not to do that. That is why probably they missed it, because these are large targets. They would not have been missed had any weapon system been dropped over there. The second and very important factor when we talk of such drones is how do you detect? Now the general had mentioned some of the passive and active measures to detect them. And he's very right. Our country today is progressing rapidly in terms of detection as well as counter drone technology. But the first thing that we need to do is to have the electro-optical and IR systems. Now, these are the systems that can be deployed either at the border itself at key locations or at VPs. But one thing I would like to highlight to you, sir, is it would be impossible to cover the entire border with the detection systems as well as counter drone technologies so as to counter every drone that comes out. It may not be possible. So we are looking at what Director Sir was mentioning, that maybe we are looking at high value targets whether it is the Prime Minister's residence itself, whether it is command and control centers, whether it is air bases, whether it is military cantonments, whatever we are looking at as high value target, probably we may initially need to focus on that. So now when we talk of detection, the second type of detection of active is your radars. Now these radars are FMCW radars and something very akin to the Elvira, which is a micro Doppler radar. And these are available in the market. There are some of them deployed also in our line of control. Vijay sir, you must have seen those which are deployed where you're looking for, small targets, slow moving targets you're looking, and they even pick up drones. And those kind of systems perhaps would be required for area coverage. And when you're coming closer, electro-optical and IR systems could be required for terminal defenses. Now we come to the counter drone technology itself. There is large amount of counter drone technology which is available in the world today. Israelis are leaders in that, and the Navy is going to procure one of those systems, counter drone systems. But more importantly, sir, DRDO has come out with a system which has high frequency jammers, the radio frequency jammers, which are high powered radio frequency jammers, which can jam the link between the operator and the UAV or the drone. But then today there are drones which are Chinese, which are autonomous, which may not be having this operational link. So the second thing that they have is a high energy laser by which they carry out a kinetic kill. So they're looking at both soft kill and a kinetic kill. But we also have lasers and we also have GPS spoofers. One thing which was being mentioned very nicely by General Saxena is that most of them rely on GPS signals. And we have systems today to spoof the GPS, replace it with another signal which will make the UAV or the drone go haywire. And this is for those autonomous systems which may also be low cost, but may be flying at a slightly higher height, the ones that you are mentioning as micro. The difference between mini and micro. When you go to mini, you're looking at these quadcopters. Nano, I do not think would be able to carry the loads that we are looking at. Maybe they are kamikaze types, but I'm looking at mini would be the quadcopters and micro would be the ones who will be very close to flying at a slightly higher altitude and carrying a higher payload. The other thing that I'm looking at is nets. Now, there are nets that are available today, which could be kept at high value target systems, which could be used to arrest these. The third is the Sparsh 2000 plus system, which the Israelis are selling to the Navy. This is something like a gun mounted sight, sir. On the assault rifle, they put an electro-optical IR sight, and this is 5th generation technology. And what it does is it tracks the target. It could be a human being or it could be a drone, which is moving slow at lower speed. But its range is only 120 meters. But within 120 meters, it will get you first round with the assault rifle. So it is something like putting a paper in a fighter aircraft onto the target. And that is what it is doing for that. It is calculating the movement of the drone, and then it is putting the paper over there and you can fire and get it accurate. So there are number of counter drone technologies available, there are detection systems available, but what we need to do is to get it and work on it in a very systemized fashion. And first thing and foremost is, sir, that we need to come out with the SOP on counter drone, which has to be tri-service. It cannot be one service because it has to have tri-service elements looking at and carry out a wholesome study of the entire area and identify where all we need area defense and where all we need point defense. So
as the armed forces together, we need to work together to carry out a holistic examination of this threat and to see what kind of countermeasures that we can bring in to ensure that we are able to face these. One of the very important points that we made, that it is impossible to actually cover the entire area and to ensure that nothing can actually penetrate. But please understand that those who are utilizing or employing the drones would actually carry out a detailed examination of the surveillance system that we have on our side and how they would like to penetrate through the gaps that are available, at what altitudes to fly, as also the fact that initially at least we must take care of our vital areas or vulnerable areas which are very close to the line of control and the international boundary. In terms of, as I mentioned to you, like the Air Force station itself or ammunition depots, FOL depots, radar stations, communication headquarters, some of these also has also certain vital bridges. In case they carry out a huge payload, then they may also damage some portions of these. So I just want to hear last from both of you, just about a minute from both of you, to say what are the, of course you made a mention, Commodore Behal, about jamming. That's one wonderful way of doing it. GPS spoofing, which can be done. As also you mentioned about the electro-optical kind of rifle system by which it is possible to bring down, but that only can bring down one odd at a time. But if you have to look at swarm of drones, then you have to prepare yourself for it. So I would like to just hear from you just about a minute each. What is your final take to say what we can do other than what has been said about a holistic examination by the three services? May also include those who are deployed on the borders, like the Central Armed Police Forces and the border guarding forces. What would you like to say in the end? General Saxena, please.
Sir, I will like to make in the last 1 minute some matter of fact action points.
Yeah.
First of all, the matter of most essential action point is to put detection capability at the areas which we require, which we consider vulnerable the most. How do you detect it? How do you make it? In the drone rules regulation, there are certain areas which are called no drone areas, no fly zones. We are well aware of our threat scenario. We are well aware of our vulnerabilities across the border because they cannot be the hinterland. It has to be close to the border, the vulnerability we can easily identify. On those areas, I want the first action point to proliferate my electro-optical surveillance devices to back up the detection measures which are already available either by human intelligence, that is by MOFs, as well as by higher order radars. This is first action. Second action point is that on those areas which I have identified and which I have increased my electro-optical surveillance manifold, because I care two hoots if two bombs fall in a sugarcane field. But I am very much bothered even if half a bomb falls on my air combat asset. So I know where to. Fortunately, our country, electro-optical fire control devices, private industry is fully geared up to provide. Our own BEL is fully geared up to provide. Low-level lightweight radars are available fully in our country. We don't have to go outside. Number one. Number two, wherever I have put my detection capability, there is also, besides the anti-drone system of DRDO, hacking, spoofing, electronic fencing, etc., etc., there is also a solution of using close-in air defense weapon systems which provides low-cost solution. For example, a gun like Zu-23, which has already got in its upgrade package, proposed upgrade package, an electro-optical fire control system, typical of catching drone.
Yeah.
Firing at the rate of 1600 to 2000 rounds, Tilka firing 3000 rounds, Samushka firing 5000 rounds a minute. I'm talking about those weapons. Air Force and Army is going for close-in weapon systems, which are the basic thing, ground-based, to proliferate them.
Okay, GK, thank you. Now, I just want to make a mention, according to the media reports, there are more than 6 lakhs rogue drones reported within our country. Remember, we have to take care of our security from all around, because unless you have a correct regulatory mechanism to even control these, you can have a huge amount of problems within the country itself. I would like to hear now from Air Commodore Behal.
So you're very right that there are 6 lakhs unregulated UAVs, or I'm not talking of even UAVs. These are all quadcopters, basically, which are there where there is just no regulation, and probably the SOP which Air Force is supposed to be coming out soon will cater to this aspect also. But most importantly, sir, I feel that we need to have an integrated approach to tackle UAVs at all levels. First, we need to identify there are 3 levels. One is for micro and mini UAVs, which will be flying at altitudes not more than 100 feet to 300 feet at the maximum. Then we are looking at medium altitude long endurance UAVs, and we are looking at high altitude long endurance UAVs. So we would need to have an integrated system which is different, which differently tackles all these 3 types of threats. You cannot have the same approach for a high altitude long endurance UAV that you have for micro and mini UAVs. And next is the integration of the air defense elements. We would need to think about that very, very quickly. And lastly, to procure in large numbers counter drone technologies and detection systems. Thank you very much sir, for giving me
I think, Sundar, you said you brought out a very vital point, that while we have 6 lakh unregulated rogue drones, so there is certainly a requirement to ensure that we take care of all types of drones. Integrated approach is required for mini, micro, small, medium altitude level and the high altitude levels of drones that require a very integrated and a comprehensive approach to detect and to destroy them. Thank you very much. I think it was a, although all the details pertaining to this attack are really not available, forensic experts are still on the job to get more information on the explosive that they have been able to collect. Hopefully we'll get more information on this and we'll talk about this a little later again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.